They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause they got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't.
What's going on, fam? I don't know how y'all doing. I hope y'all doing swell, man. You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene with myself, Wole. The homie Ray Jeezy is out. But first, before we talk about the topic in hand, we gotta knock out some logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure you subscribe to our Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you're on here right now, if you're on the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel, hit that red subscribe button. Also like this video. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene. And also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Host of the Sports for the Culture presented by Gas Sports Network, the homie Rome, will join me to debate whether the Commanders should go after defensive edge Jadeveon Clowney. Rome is running a little late, but we'll have him on, I think, around 7:15. What's going on, Mike? Appreciate you, homie. What's going on, my guy? What's going on, buddy? What is going on? All right, so Jadeveon Clowney's out there, man. He's an edge rusher out there, a guy who was a top pick overall. I think he was a number one pick overall with the Texans out of South Carolina. Mike, you asking, can we afford him? Yeah, man, we can definitely afford him. He's not that expensive. He's a guy that obviously folks know what he did in that game against my squad, Michigan, where he knocked out pretty much knocked out the running back on that play. But yeah. So the question to this I came up with this topic. Like, should the Commanders go after Jadeveon Clowney? They lost Dante Fowler in free agency, a guy who had 10 and a half. I think Fowler had 10 and a half sacks, 11 and a half or 10 and a half. Yeah, 10 and a half sacks last year. So they need a player. They need an edge rusher. They need a guy who can fit that bill. You know, they got guys they do like Baptiste and whatnot, but they do need to fill that side of the football because we have a lot of unknowns at that position at edge rusher, right? Yeah, right, George. I agree. Like, I think he can get signed for the vet men. I really do, but I feel like Clowney kind of can fit what this team needs. Clowney is a guy, in my opinion, need a guy that can help this team. Let's put it that way. He's a guy who can. We know he can rush the passer, but because I know we all get fixated on getting 10 plus sacks, but he's a guy that always gets a lot of pressure when he's out there on the football field. And also, he's a guy who can play the run. I think if anybody's watched Jadeveon Clowney, he's a guy who can stop the run off the edge, who can set the edge, which is different from Fowler, right? Fowler couldn't set the edge. That was his issue here. He couldn't set the edge. I think when you have a guy like Clowney, he's a guy who can set the edge. So he does help you in the run game and also as a pass rusher. What's going on, Paul? What's good, bro? Dujane, what's good? Dujane says, not sure, man. I know he's affordable. If he a run liability is the question. If he can not be a weak link, then sure, why not? Now, he's good against the run. He sets the edge pretty well. He's a guy. If you look at compared to Dante Fowler, and look at how the Commanders kind of go after those type of guys. Like look at the guys they bring in, like the 1-year deals. They don't want to commit to anybody. I feel like Clowney is a guy you don't have to commit to. He's a guy that has the ability, can set the edge. Is a guy who can play against the run. He did that well when he was with the Texans, to be honest with you. That was the thing that people were kind of like when he was younger. That was the thing that people were kind of frustrated with. He was really good against the run, but a guy that they wanted him to be more of a guy who got more sacks, right? Mike said we have a much improved defensive line, and if Fowler can get it with what we had last season, we may can do it with the guys we have, because if Terry gets $37 million, I can't see it happening. I'm gonna put it like this: Terry's contract won't even hurt getting Clowney. like Clowney's not gonna get paid that much. Like, to be honest with you, Clowney on the market isn't expensive at all. He's a vet man, like George talked about. He's a vet man. You're talking about 1 year, maybe 8 to 9 mil for 1 year, and that's nothing. He had 5.5 sacks last season. The year before that with the Ravens, he had 9.5 sacks. So to be honest with you, I don't think Clowney is even to that point. Clowney's that money is anything for Clowney, to be honest with you. I mean, anything for Washington to give Clowney. I think Clowney's if they wanted Clowney, I think he's a guy that they can definitely get. He's a guy that I feel like is easily under their budget. And again, looking at what we saw with Fowler, right? Fowler, no one had high hopes for Fowler, and just like you said, Mike, like look what they did with Fowler. But you put Fowler in this, you put Clowney with this defense. In terms of just being able to help it on the edge, that's my thing. Like the edge of stopping the run, setting the edge to stop the run. Like when you see guys like Jalen Hurts, you see mobile quarterbacks. Then also you got dynamic running backs like Saquon Barkley and folks like that. Like I think somebody like Clowney, though he is 32 years old, so that's obviously something out. We gonna put that out there. I'm not going to just state what I just because I am in favor of having Clowney come to DC and come to the Commanders. I will state the negative as well. Like he is like 32 years old, so he's not a spring chicken. Played with the Panthers, a struggling team, but to even get 5.5 sacks, in my opinion, with that team that's struggling, and you're not at like Clowney's not elite. We're not talking about an elite football player right now, but he's a guy. If you look at the body of work and consistency, he's been better than say Dante Fowler in terms of career body of work. Dante Fowler had 2 years where he had I think he had a 11 and a half sack season. Let me check it out right now. I don't want to lie to y'all. He had a 10.5 season with us and 11 and a half sack season with the Rams in 2019. So it's not as if, to be honest with you, it's not as if I feel like Clowney can pretty much be more consistent than Fowler, in my opinion. Mike, Louvu and Payne will play a lot of in. I don't know. I ain't a big believer. I think Louvu's better suited not playing in. My man, okay, I got my man wrong here. I think Louvu's better suited not playing. I think Louvu's better at blitzing. Like I wouldn't have him his hands on the dirt rushing the quarterback. I think you're not utilizing him. But hold on, let me introduce my guy in real quick. Make sure this is correct. I gotta have the right setup for him. I can't have no BS setup. It gotta be right for my guy. It gotta be right for my guy. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be right, and it gotta be right. And I'm all out the box. Here we go. There we go. What's going on, Rome? What's going on, my
Yes, sir. What up? What up?
No, it's going nothing much, man. What's good with you, bro?
Not much, man. Dinner ran a little late, so I'm sorry to be late, but I'm happy to be here, though.
Man, you good, man. I can still shoot the breeze with the chat. You good, bro. So, like, I'm gonna ask you this question, man. Everybody in the chat have their own opinion. It's about money or whatnot. If Clowney's out there, he's a free agent. Obviously this team lost. I mean, Dante Fowler was a guy who had production for them with 10.5 sacks last season. Do you feel like would you be? I'm gonna phrase it to you this way. Would you be mad this team went after, say, a Jadeveon Clowney?
Honestly, man, Clowney is one thing, right? Like first, I want to say I do think that they will be making some type of signing in training camp as far as the pass rusher goes. Mm-hmm. Will it be Jadeveon Clowney? I was looking at it before. I mean, like basically what Jadeveon Clowney is at this point in his career is a hitman, right? Mm-hmm. He's a hitman for hire, right? Yeah. So it kind of fits the situation perfectly. You can get him on a 1-year deal. We're really pushing for a Super Bowl, if we're being honest. The way that it's looking is they're putting their chips towards the table. So signing age of Jadeveon Clowney makes sense. Now, when you get to him specifically, age factors into it. I think he only had like what five sacks for the Panthers last year.
Yeah, last year.
But 2 years ago he had about 9.5 on the Browns. Yeah. So if you're telling me we can get that production that we had on the Browns from him, then I'm thinking it'd be worth it. But the reason I will pause on all that is when he was with the Browns, he had Myles Garrett on the other side. So it makes it a little bit easier if you got a Myles Garrett drawing a ton of attention, getting 10+ sacks also. If he comes to DC, he's going to be the guy. So they're going to be chipping him. I don't know exactly how you would utilize him. Maybe you can keep him fresh, keeping him in on third downs or pass rushing situations specifically. But I'm I would say I'm like 25%, 50%, somewhere between there. Okay, with signing Jadeveon Clowney specifically, but a pass rusher in that vein, maybe like a Von Miller, so somebody like that, I could totally see them getting. But I'm not all the way sold on Clowney just yet.
I know. I feel like Clowney missed a number of games with even getting those sacks. I'm trying to figure how many games he missed. But to your point, like he had the Ravens where he had his best sack output, I believe, in a long time, like 9.5. That was a couple years ago. And the Ravens play more of an aggressive style, though. You know what I mean? So that's a different beast, right? Like they're rushing multiple guys, right, for him to get so it's easier for him. And I felt like that was his best situation. Actually, the best match for his skill set. I felt like going to Baltimore was the best match for his skill set. Yeah. But to your point though, that's a valid point. Like he'll get chipped here and whatnot. But it's almost like Dante Fowler though, right? Like that's how I kind of look at it. Like Clowney's been more consistent in his career than Dante Fowler, right? But Dante Fowler had the best. Last year was a good year for him. Everybody's kind of was excited about it. But 32 is scary. Being 32 years old is scary. That's the thing that kind of
especially with the injury history. Because to your point,
that's a good point.
He played well, but he missed a ton of games. So it's like we signed him for 1 year. How many games are we getting?
Yeah.
And with a player like that, also you want those games to be on the back end towards the playoffs or in the playoffs, really.
Great. So it's up to something like you said earlier, about keeping him fresh, right? Like you said, you had to find ways. But I think he would be more just like Fowler to a certain extent. Everybody's a rotational dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For Washington, you know what I mean? Like they want to play Baptiste more. Like everyone's talking about it in the chat. They want to play Payne and end. They want to play some bigger guys in end. They want to play some of these guys in end. So on certain defensive sets. So in my opinion, it's not. I don't think you're going to see. They got a Clowney. It's not Clowney. Clowney's not putting his hand in the dirt 24/7. He's not your quote unquote true 100 60% starting defensive end. I feel like everybody's rotationary. You know what I mean? Or rotational. You know what I mean? So to that point, they're going to rotation. They're going to put him in a rotation. Lou's going to get some opportunities at rushing the passer as a straight edge rusher. But I do think there's more flexibility now when you have a guy like Clowney. And you have Luvu now to a point where you can just go ahead and rush Luvu blitz route Luvu, other than having him have his hands in the dirt and say, go get the quarterback. Because it's not, I said this before, it's not like Luvu he's not a Micah Parsons who you can line him up and he's going to beat the next man. He's not that type of pass rusher. You know what I mean? People get they look at him like, oh, he gets sacks and this, that, and the other. He's just not that type of pass rusher.
He's a blitzer. He's a blitzer. You got to scheme him up, and if you got the right gap, he's gonna hit that better than most people. But yeah, to your point, he's not gonna line up from a top tier tackle like my man on the Eagles and beat him. That's not gonna happen.
That's not his. That's not his. That's just you're doing him a big disservice. And that's not even talking bad on him. You're doing him a big disservice.
Right. That's not his game. That's not his game at all.
My man Dujane said at 32 you can have him on a pinch count. Yeah. And he is a rotation guy. You're not looking for this guy to start. And I don't think he's. I think I'm like this. He's very similar. If you play him, if you get him, it's very similar to not having Dante Fowler. Like it's not. If you view Dante Fowler as a starter, then you can view Clowney as a starter. They're not that much off. Like in terms of I don't view Fowler better than Clowney. I'm gonna be real with you. To me, Fowler's not better than Clowney as an overall defensive end because Clowney can play the run and he can get pressure. Like he's done both. He can do both. Fowler is pretty much a pass rusher. That's what he is. He was drafted as a pass rusher. He is a pass rusher. He was not drafted to help you stop the run. He's drafted as a quick dude who has bend, who you want to go rush the quarterback. That is it. That's all Fowler has always been. It's not a knock on him, and he's good at it when he gets the right opportunity and things are set up for him. He's good at that. But that's what he was. So, in my opinion, if you view, because Fowler is 31 too. I think Fowler is 31 or something like that. If you view Fowler as a guy who starts, then you can view Clowney as a guy who starts. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think Clowney definitely has value on rundowns for sure.
Yeah.
My thing just is the injury history. And if you're gonna sign Clowney, you really gotta factor in how many games you're gonna get out of him. And if we're keeping them on a straight,
Yeah, you good.
then yeah, my fault. Yeah, if we're keeping them on a straight pitch count, then you gotta just the value. Like, how much money are you gonna pay Jadeveon Clowney to come here and play sometimes? Because we can say he's a starter, even if he's not technically a
Yeah,
starter. I think he would play the more
yeah,
snaps.
the most. Yeah,
He's going to end up with more snaps than probably anybody other outside of Deron Payne, I
facts.
would think. So I just don't know, man. Von Miller falls into that category too, where I'm like, these are older guys. I would want to aim a little younger at pass rusher, but there's not too many guys out
Yeah,
there.
There's not. There's like you have you got Smith, Darius Smith. He's still out there. But he just had the suspect year. That's why people are kind of getting on him. Who's probably slightly younger, right?
Yeah, Zadarius Smith. There was another older dude, Judon was out there.
Matthew Judon's out there. He's out there. Sorry, Judon. That's what I'm thinking of too.
So I mean,
He's out
there's a few guys that I would probably look at before Clowney or Miller,
Mhm.
but I think Clowney is a very interesting aspect. I think Judon is the one that I was singling in on. See, there's a couple of these guys that I was going to watch a little tape on as we get into training camp to see who they might actually pick up and who's the best fit for them. But I mean, I was originally just looking at it on paper. I was looking at like a Judon or a Zadarius Smith over a Jadeveon Clowney. But Clowney is a very interesting one because I just feel like at this stage in his career, this is what he is. And maybe, who knows, maybe coming to a team like the Commanders gives him that juice he needs to play a 15-game season or have that extra juice at the end for the playoffs.
Look, he did it for the Ravens.
Right.
He did it for the Ravens. I think it's different when you're playing against with no knock on the Panthers. But it's different. It's different energies it's a different energy when you're playing with a bad team.
Big time.
We saw with Jonathan Allen where he risked it all to come back for that playoff team. It's different. It's a different energy when you're playing with a winner. You're willing to say, that little ankle soreness. I'm gonna fight through it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight through it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different type of energy. So I feel like, and like I said, the Ravens, he was pretty much healthy throughout that season. You know what I mean? It's healthy as you can be playing football, right? But so that's how I feel like injuries with him in the mix. I don't feel like, and I hate using injury because obviously it's a pattern though, right? But it's that's such a lucky, unlucky type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the thing when I don't engage for any player. I typically really don't do it for any player, especially if you got ability. I try not to do that because I'm like, you just been unlucky. You haven't been lucky. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard, man. It really is. But I just think that Clowney with this system is a fit. Do you think he fits the system? Would he fit the system to you?
I think Clowney's the type of player that can fit most systems, right? Like, he's one of the players that runs on having high ability, which is why his age and injury history is the biggest question and concern for me. But he's the type of player where, if he's 100% and he's giving full effort, he's probably one of the better players on the field, even at the age of 32. So I think he still has the ability to, at moments, be one of the better pass rushers in the league. The same as Von Miller. I've said for years now, Von Miller on this back end of his career is not that good, the first 3 quarters of the game, but then all of a sudden he gets you those clutch sacks, those clutch moments. So he gets you the pass rush at the time you need it the most. So that's why I wouldn't even toss out Von Miller out of this equation. But I do think that they're going to go, for some reason. I just feel like Clowney and Miller are those names that you might look at, but I don't know if Adam Peters is going to go with one of those guys.
You don't think he'll go for a name guy?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll go for a name guy. He might.
I mean, I feel it's crazy because I don't know that's the thing. I think he goes with guys they go with guys like that they have a relationship with. I do agree with that. Like for instance, Quinn had a relationship with Fowler.
Right.
And Adam Peters doesn't really have a relationship with, say, a Fowler. So I don't know if that would even be a thing. But I just think that in terms of, like, if you look at the type of players they bring in, like the type of vets they bring in, like we could say, like, Bobby Wagner had a relationship with and Quinn. You know what I mean?
With
Like,
Quinn.
so it's like, but in terms of bringing in vets like that, I feel like it's still like I feel like he fits the mold of the vet they would bring in, though. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like he fits that mold. What's up? Deluxe says, does Clowney fit what they look in for a Commander? I think so. He plays hard. It's not like he don't. Like, if you look at, or put it this way, if you fit the Ravens' way of doing things, I feel like that's not far off of what the Commanders are trying to do. Like the Ravens, when he was with the Ravens, they had that, like, the Ravens still wanted him back. It wasn't like they didn't want him back. They wanted him back. So obviously, if you can fit the way the Ravens handle business, and I don't feel like that's that much off of what we're trying to build here in DC. Does that make any sense?
No, not at all. Not at all. And it goes back to what I was saying. Like, a lot of those type of players that people are like, oh, do they fit this type of locker room environment? When the team is winning, it's really easy to fit in. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like, you don't want to come in somewhere and be the person that's disruptive or messing up a good thing. So I think, after a season like last season, players really see like that Commander squad is onto something. That locker room is special, and they want to be a part of it. So I can see Clowney coming here very similar to how he came to the Ravens and fitting right in.
So what's wrong with Josh Sweat? Isn't he on the squad? Isn't he on the? Isn't Josh Sweat on the squad?
I mean, none of the pass rushers on the squad right now move me. Like, I honestly think, and that's why I said I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah, he's in Arizona. Josh Sweat's in Arizona. Yeah, he's in Arizona.
No matter who they got, it's because none of the pass rushers I'm impressed by right now. I feel like Luvu is probably the best one. So I don't care if it's Miller, Judon, Clowney, whoever. Some level of an upgrade is needed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. So I think he fits. I think he does fit. If they use him right, he can be effective. I think so.
100%. Yeah.
Is Judon a better fit? I think Judon is just. I think.
Was there a Judon and Quinn connection? They weren't in Atlanta at the same time, were they?
That's a good question. I think they may.
I think Quinn might have been gone. I'm not sure.
Was he gone by then?
I would have to look it up.
Oh wait, no. Judon was with the Patriots first, right?
Yeah, he was with Quinn was gone.
Quinn was gone by
Quinn
then.
was gone. Yeah.
Quinn was gone by then. So yeah, I feel like it's a fit for Washington. I think it's a locker room fit, to be real with you, and also I feel like it's into what you talk about, Rome. When you're winning too, and you develop that culture, you're gonna do whatever it takes to buy in. Like, in my opinion, unless you're just especially when you're older, like you're at this point in your career. If you're younger, it's a whole different beast. But you're 32, as a 32-year-old, knowing that you're in your last leg, and now you're looking at your legacy. That's all it's about. It's your legacy, trying to build your legacy or your imprint, your true imprint in this league in terms of for years to come. And you want your moment. I feel like, to your point, you're gonna fall in line. If you really believe that this team, if a player believes that Washington is a championship contending team, they're gonna fall in line. Just like anybody who goes to the Patriots 9 times out of 10, they were gonna take away. They were cool with like saying, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for us to win, because I know, like, I'm getting an opportunity to play in January, February. Like, you know what I mean? I've never had the opportunity before, but now I have that opportunity now. If I believe in JD5 like that, then yeah, I'm gonna do whatever it takes as a player, defense or offensive side of football. If I feel like he can get me to the promised land, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for that to happen, because I know that my time in this league is limited, and for me to get that moment, for me to showcase my talent in front of the whole world, because you want the big game at the end of the day. For me to do that, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for this squad.
Now, I would still question Clowney in that regard, because, like I said earlier, at this stage of his career, he's like a hitman, for hire, basically. Exactly. So, is he interested in really chasing that chip, or is he trying to maximize his dollars? Because if I'm Washington, I'm not giving a big deal to Clowney or Miller. Like, I'm looking at them like a vet minimum almost, because of how much they're going to give me back. Like, you'd be better off signing one of them in like October. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm not. When I'm saying, go ahead.
But with a Judon, because you brought up how he was on the Patriots first, and that type of locker room environment, being that leader, he might already have that ingrained. So he might be an even better fit than a Clowney or a Miller.
That's a good point. And that can really, truth be told, that can even go both ways, to be real with you, because he may have already been sick of winning. I just want my bag. I want my attention. Some people it's a
Right.
it's a flip. It's like I already had that. I already did that. I did that. And I got
Yeah,
my chip.
he's definitely made his money.
Yeah, Clowney's gonna make his money too. So his money is already made. So the
Right.
only thing he's missing is
Is the chip.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It
you're
depends how
right.
you look at it.
They might be the flip. They might be the flip
Yeah.
of each other. Because Miller might be like, I might as well just get the bag now, you know?
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, if I'm Von Miller, yeah, I already want my chip. Like, I'm good. Like I was good at it. I was good at when I was good when I won my chip. I was
Yeah.
an impact player.
One of the best, right?
Yep.
One of the best.
It's different though when you like now, like his legacy is already supplanted. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But again, that depends on who he is internally. Maybe he just wants more. You know, he may just want to win. And some players are that way too. I'm not saying like what I'm thinking is like the correct way. I'm just saying that you got different types of players with different type of personalities. Like some people believe in all types of sports. Like I'll give you an example in another sport in basketball. Jordan Poole, he won his championship in Golden State. When he came to DC, he's like, I already have my legacy is basically supplanted. I won my championship. Now it's about getting the bag and getting stats. He don't really have a legacy, but that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
But you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying though? Like that's the mindset. I won a chip already. I've done that. Now it's time for me to get paid. Not time for me to get more chips. It's time for me to get paid. So it just depends on the mindset.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Quinn and Adam Peters are definitely looking for players with the correct mindset that want to go get a championship.
Yep.
So that's why I think they really might lean towards Matthew Judon. But you never know, man. I think the biggest shock would be if they don't upgrade anything at all. That would be the biggest shock to me.
Yeah, if they don't get it, I feel like this is my thing. I feel like the players available fit what they want to do here. So I'm with you in that element. Like I'm like, I feel like the players that are Matt Judon, Smith, Clowney, they fit. They are because they're not expensive. Like and even Miller, like they're not gonna be expensive. Agree? Like 10 mil is the max. 10 mil for 1 year is the max. And real talk, the one that gives me what did Fowler was 8. Was it 8 mil or something like that?
Yeah, he was under 10. I wouldn't pay more than 10 for Clowney.
I wouldn't pay more than 10, and honestly, it would probably be 8.
Yeah.
I would probably be 8. And if for a guy who had, and I'm using Clowney because the topic is based on Clowney, dude, you have 5.5 sacks. I know your ability, but 5.5 sacks gives you me 8, if that.
Right.
If that, you know what I'm saying? And if you're willing to take a 8. If he's going to take an 8 or a 7 to 8, I'm taking that. I'm jumping at that in a second. Like you can come to DC,
yeah,
for that because I know you're going to do better. I know you can do better than that. Like I know you can do better than that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if no more moves are made unless an injury happens. I mean, I could see that. I know they like Baptiste. I hope they, in my opinion, I feel like they do need.
Who would be the starting 4 on the D line right now? They said they're loving what they've seen from Payne. We already know Payne's going to be
Payne. All right, so it'll be Payne.
Newton. Newton's
no, he's not starting.
Who's over Newton at tackle?
The one that just signed from San Fran, from the Jets.
Oh, Kinlaw.
Thank you, Kinlaw. Because Kinlaw got money. He got starting money. That's starting money. That's not bench money. Kinlaw. I guess. They said, Newton, they want to play some. Those dudes are like Newton and Payne is not going to be starting at end. He's going to play some.
They might play some, but they're not going to start there.
Start at end. Who is the edge? Oh, sorry, Armstrong. I'm tripping. Doris Armstrong, and the last one is to be determined in terms of a true because Fowler was the starter, right?
And that's why I brought that up because
you got Farrell back on contract, so you can put him out there. I don't look at him as a starter. Farrell, you got Baptiste. Sorry, you got Wise. Sorry, Wise from the Patriots.
Yeah, like you said though, these are all rotational pieces, and I like Dietrich Wise a lot. I liked him last year in New England, but outside of the people that the only players that we named that I feel like are starters on this team and could be starters almost anywhere are Payne, Kinlaw, and Newton.
Yeah.
I didn't hear one other name where I'm like, oh, this guy could start anywhere.
Doris Armstrong, I feel like he could be all right. I feel like Doris Armstrong really flashed last year. In terms of, I'm gonna give him his flowers because I wasn't high on him. I mean, but he showed me more. I liked him more than I like Dante Fowler. I know.
I mean, that's how I felt about Dietrich Wise watching him on the Patriots last year. I'm like,
Yeah,
I like what you're doing, but like,
yeah,
what I like, all right, if they sign Clowney, Clowney's starting over all those guys.
yeah, by far.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah,
no, it's not even like a
there's
camp.
nobody like that. There's nobody like that on this
It's
squad.
not even a camp competition.
Yeah.
Like all the guys we named that are in free agency will all get the nod over these dudes. So that's why I say I feel like they got to make a move.
There's nobody I mean, there's nobody spectacular on their squad. I'm not gonna like lie. Like, there's nobody spectacular on their squad at all. In terms of end, excuse me, instead of end. So Deluxe says Armstrong, Payne, Newton, and Kinlaw. I don't think that's your starting. That's not your starting four.
That might be a rotation.
That's a rotation. I feel like they'll have a special package for that. Like, there'll be a package where you have Deron Payne and end. Like, that may be a package. Or
they did that some last year. I think they'll definitely do it.
That's gonna be a package.
But
it won't be a predominant thing. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna have to match up against edge rush. You're gonna match up against tackles because some tackles aren't good with quickness. So you're gonna have to have a guy who has a quick twitch on the edge. So it's gonna be matchups. You're gonna need somebody.
They don't have that quick twitch guy. That's really the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. I asked who Deluxe. I like this question. At least Deluxe, what your question is. I asked this question elsewhere. Who were the DNs on the 2000 Ravens squad? Well, man, that's a different beast. They had Ray Lewis. That's a different beast. They had They had a good defensive coordinator. They had Marvin Lewis.
I'll say this too, though. Like, and not to date myself too much, because I remember the 2000 Ravens. The game has evolved though. Yeah. Since then, we're in 2025 now, and I know it doesn't seem like it's been that crazy long, but the football in 2000 and right now, like the pass rushers alone are way more vicious, bro.
I feel like they had one dude that was good at end, but he was a big boy though.
I feel like back then it wasn't as important to have maybe if you had like a top tier pass rusher. But like you didn't need like the middle of the pack pass rushers weren't as good as the middle of the pack pass rushers are today.
No, that makes sense. They're different. They're more athletic.
Right. Like they're more like athletic. The pass rushers are crazy good now.
Yeah, they are. Oh, and hands down. Like hands down. I'm kind of trying to find this roster. Like, I'm trying to answer your question because I feel like I want to say Adams, but I know I'm wrong by saying the name Adams. I know there's an individual like because Adams was the interior with Saragusa. I'm trying to think who was the outside. That's a good one. I want to
not to go like crazy far off topic.
Go for it.
But since we brought up like old pass rushers, my boy had sent me shout out my man Kyle. He sent me something, I think it was on Instagram, about Simeon Rice. The stat Simeon Rice actually has more sacks in his career than like man, I forgot who it was, but it was like two of the top pass rushers. Like, I think it was like more sacks than Aaron Donald and somebody else.
Simeon Rice was a man
that you wouldn't have thought. Yeah, Simeon Rice was a dog back in the day.
I watched him in Illinois. I've been a Simeon Rice dude. I'm a Michigan fan. I've been a Simeon Rice dude since he was in college. I knew all about him before he got to the league. Simeon Rice was. I knew whoever got him was going to get. When he went to Tampa, I was like, yeah, I got a serious problem. Like Simeon
if we talk about pass rushers from the 90s and the 2000s, like Simeon Rice was one of the best, if not the best.
Simeon Rice it's underrated. That's how.
Oh, very much, very much.
Simeon Rice is underrated. Like no one talks. All right, so I'm trying to. Here you go. I got the edge. The D line. Yeah, I'm talking. Adelius Thomas. He was good.
Yeah, he was.
Adelius Thomas was good. Yeah. And Michael McCray. That's what it was. Michael McCray and Adelius Thomas. Michael McCray is really good.
Right. So I would say that those two are two guys that weren't like superstars in the league, but they were dogs though.
They would like McCray was a big time sack artist for the Ravens. So they had it like Washington. Look, 9 times out of 10, if you want to have a good defense, your edge rushers, unless you got like a vicious system, like the Patriots, they have a vicious system. 9 times, but they had dogs. They had Richard Seymour. Like they have guys who can kind of do it from in other positions. But I would say if you want, I think a better example like than the Ray probably would be the Patriots, because the Patriots sometimes don't have a dominant edge rusher. If I was going to use a team that didn't have, which had a good defense, it would be the Patriots.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Mike Chase ain't available. They gave Chase the bag into one this up. They gave him
right.
they gave him a good contract. Chase
I
ain't available.
think that was smart too. That was smart on
Yeah,
their part.
Chase is not available at all. Yeah. They had 10, that season. You talking about that season? Had 10. Yeah, Thomas had 10 and McCray had 6. Yeah, that's not bad though. For that type, but back then that's not that bad.
That's
I'm not
good. I was gonna
asking
say for 2000, that's good.
I'm not asking for both of my edges to have 10 sack dudes. I'm not that type person. But I do think you need to, Deluxe, I would even ask like how many hurries they had that year too. Like hurries are very important too in terms of pressure, because I would say like if you have if a guy gets gets sacks, they can be weird sacks, right? Like because of your secondary is really good. But if a guy's not getting true pressure, like he may have a game where he has 2, 3, 4 sacks. He's going against the backup or something like that, right? And then the majority of his games, he's quiet because he can't get any pressure or anything. Like I would rather have a dude get constant pressure. So I'm not sure. I would say go back and check if they get pressure too as well. Like sometimes you just can't see anything. You can't see the whole story with just picking up sacks. It sounds good. Don't get it twisted. But sometimes, like when you mention certain dudes, like I mentioned Clowney. Like Clowney is a dude that if you looked at his stats in terms of body of work, you would say like, yeah, he should have more sacks. But if you look at his pressures, he's always up, and he's always typically when in his prime, he was always up in the league. He was up in the top in pressures, just like Chase. People hate Chase. He was up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between Clowney and Chase.
There's a lot of similarities between Clowney and Chase. There's a lot, to be honest with you.
I would, and I know the Saints locked him up already, but I wouldn't have been mad at a Chase reunion. I think, and to your point, man, you don't have a good defense these days without a strong pass rush, and I think that's what the Commanders are lacking the most right now. I think we're in June still. Everybody's kind of poo-pooing it, but the closer we get to the season, the more that it'll become a glaring, obvious problem. They were terrible stopping the run. It does seem like they're trying to address that with like the Kinlaw signing.
Yeah,
but you're not going to win many games if you're giving guys all day to throw.
I mean, this is the thing. It's all we're gonna see what happens with the whole line, because obviously, like when the season's over and you do all these signings, the drafts and whatnot, drafting the players and whatnot, we all are kind of optimistic. Right, that's like a lot of fans are. Oh man, and I'm a believer in Jazan. I think Jazan gonna be an animal, but like, oh yeah, Jazan going to get out. Like Jazan Newton gonna get out, or like that's why they let Jonathan Allen go. Like Kinlaw, man, we got Kinlaw. He a big body. We need the big body. You know what I mean? Like we got Wise. Everything sounds good. It just sounds good because you're a fan. You just got something new. Because you everything anytime is something new, you automatically think it's better. For some, as a fan, you automatically think it's better. Don't matter what production, whatever that player may have given you, whatever. This is why I always say, like, for me, the line is a big question mark. It's a question mark because you can prove me wrong, right? Like, you can prove me wrong. It's possible. So I'm not going to take that away. But if you're telling me if I go player for player, who they lost, and even people I'm not a fan of, like you lost Dante Fowler, a 10 sack dude. Regardless of how I feel about him.
Yeah, because I'm not a big Fowler guy, but he had a strong season.
Yeah, who you gonna replace?
So just letting him walk, you got to have a replacement.
Yeah,
and that's why I think they got to sign somebody. Like I think you can't get away from it.
Even Kinlaw, like it's the truth. Like you may look at his size and be happy with him. Be a local dude. So I'm always gonna root for the local kids, but he's underachieved in the NFL so far.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's a reason he ended up here.
Yeah, and like, is he better than Jonathan Allen? No, he's not.
Nah, he's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not even close. That's not an upgrade, and so that's what I'm saying. Like we were bad at stopping the run. We lost Allen. You had to do something, right? So I understand getting Kinlaw, but the D line is not upgraded in any way. I feel like they solidified the secondary. You went out and got Jonathan Jones, who's a good, strong vet. Probably not going to need to be a starter or nothing like that. So I think that's a good pickup. Then you got Trey Amos, who can learn from these guys, and you got Marshawn, who's healthy this year. So I feel like outside of safety, you kind of solidified your secondary. But the way the game works, man, if you don't have a pass rush, it don't really matter how great your corners are, bro.
I
Nobody can
agree.
cover for 4 or 5 seconds at down in and down out. Like somebody's gonna get beat, somebody's gonna make a mistake. You got to get constant pressure, and I just don't feel like they have a guy that will consistently get constant pressure. I think when we get to training camp, I think that's gonna stand out like a sore thumb.
That's the point, though. That's it. What you just said right there. Like constant pressure. Like that's like all those teams that we talk about. Like all these teams that we talk about, the team has to beat, to get to the dance within our division. Well, the one team within our division, the Eagles, they get constant pressure, but they got.
The Giants are gonna get constant pressure this
man,
coming year.
I don't even want to talk about them. I don't talk about them. Their defense is going. Yeah, I expect their defense to be a problem.
I think their defense is gonna take a leap, and I think that's because they went and got pass rushers. So.
Yeah. I agree. Let's see. We got a couple comments. Mike said, "We need to stop the run more and let our defensive backs take care of the business on their end." Yeah, but if they get time in that pocket, it's gonna be hard to check when you get all that time in the pocket. Deluxe team sacks is more relevant number than individual sacks. I agree with that. Washington was top 12 in sacks last year. Can't remember the actual ranking. Team sacks is definitely more important than individual sacks. I agree with that. I'm not.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Well, you're optimistic about everything about this team.
No.
I know. Look, I know. Like my quarterback has said, I know Terry signed. He said, like I know. Like there's things I'm happy. Like I know Bobby Wagner gonna do his thing. I know Mikey gonna have a good year too. I know that what's my corner? Sorry, Lattimore. I know Lattimore gonna ball out.
Yeah, Lattimore gonna have a good season.
No, I'm very high. Like I don't want to say no because you can never know, but Amos gonna be like that. Like Amos gonna be like that. So you telling me like I'm not this way about everything. I'm this way about things I'm really concerned about. I actually believe that B-Rob gonna be surprised a lot of y'all, to be real with you. So, and I'm the minority with that.
I think the thing I'm not really worried about anything on the offense.
Yeah.
I think my biggest worry offensively is Cliff Kingsbury, and we can say that for down the road because I do think that could potentially be something. The closer we get to camp, more things will start to pop up. But as far as defense, I just want to keep it on the topic. And that's why I'm glad I was invited on for this show because pass rusher to me is what I am most worried about.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that is what's going to hold this defense back potentially. And I know people don't want to hear that because it's June and we're talking about team sacks and all that good stuff, but team sacks are accumulated by individual sacks. And we went through the individuals on this team that are going to be rushing the passer. And I think if Frankie Louvu is your sack leader, you have an issue.
That I agree with that. He shouldn't be a sack leader. That's the truth. No knock on, and I think Louvu, I call him my tribal chief. That's my dude.
Yes, sir.
But
I got the Roman Reigns shirt on right now.
Greatness, I see you. But he shouldn't be your leading sacker. He shouldn't, because again, like we've talked about it before, that means you're scheming up so much just for one dude.
Right. And the thing is, the other team is going to scheme back. Like, You know what I'm saying? Like, if Louvu starts to stand out, like, this is the guy that they're going to be sending, they're going to scheme back, and he's not going to get home every time. So you quite literally need Louvu is a great complementary piece to a pass rusher. That's why if you get a Von Miller, a Jadeveon Clowney, and you pair that with a Frankie Louvu, now you really got something. Now you might see a little bit more production from a Dietrich Wise and these other guys. Like, they have a bunch of rotational pieces. It's almost like a starting five in basketball. Yeah. Right? Like, if you got 4 great rotational guys or 4 guys that are consistently going to do their job, and then you add a Kevin Durant, you add a LeBron James, a star player, now all of a sudden you have a really good team. You know what I mean? So I think that's what the Commanders pass rush is missing right now, like that anchor, that guy that the other team is going to have to scheme for. You know what I mean? Because right now there's no, like, I'm not scheming for Dietrich Wise. Like, I'm telling my left tackle to go out there and just block him. Just follow what we already told you to do. I'm not worried about it. If you do what we said, he's out the way. But you need somebody that's going to disrupt that, a real disruptor. And I think Clowney could fit the bill. I think Judon could fit the bill. So they didn't go after somebody. Maybe there's somebody we're not thinking of. Maybe there's an unnamed person right now.
No. Those are the players. That list is not that the dudes there remain like unless that's what I was like. That's why I would prefer for them to draft. We did this. We talked about this drafting a edge rusher. But also I talked when we had like actually started here when we talked about when Bryce was talking about get the best player available. I was like, yeah, I'm for that. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of for that. But also I don't think I like the young boy, but I don't think he was the best player available. So it was kind of like
in hindsight, I really like that pick, the Connolly pick, because of what we were just talking about with the Giants pass rush.
Yeah.
I think that's week 1. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna see that come to fruition week 1.
If he starts.
If he's not starting week 1, we got an issue, I would say. I know he's not starting just yet. I know that's definitely gonna be a competition, but I think he can surpass who is it, Andrew Wiley out there.
No, he better. He better. If they're trying both, Coleman, they saw Coleman playing a lot of guard, but they were trying both of them out at tackle too. So we'll see. We'll see how.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to training camp.
Yeah, all I know, from what I've heard, this is my, and I don't want to. I'm not gonna go off topic, but this is what I heard, and because I believe it, I said this before. I've said this that he's a little light right now. But I said, and this is not a knock. I feel like you'll get the best Connerly in year 3. I think he'll be way better in year 2 than he is in year 1. That I do know. He'll be way better in year 2 than he is in year 1.
I think he'll have a rough go in year 1 for sure. You look at the division we're playing.
That's the thing.
You're going against nothing but dogs.
That's the problem. That's not the problem, but that's the thing.
And I feel I kind of feel the same about Amos. I think when we talked about Amos originally too, we said he's his value will show more towards the back half of the season.
I agree.
Right. Like I think he'll compete and he'll be there in that first half. But once he really gets his feet under him and gets his feet wet, so to speak, I think that's when you'll really see the dog come out. Look at Sanders still last year. By that last time we're playing the Eagles before the playoffs, he's shutting down AJ Brown. You know what I'm saying? He's step for step with Devontae Smith. So you'll see that same type of progression.
Yeah. My man was always playing. He was playing with a dog from the rip, though. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
Mikey was already. He got beat by you're gonna get beat by Jamar Chase. You're gonna get beat by dudes like that. You know what I'm saying? He got beaten in the first game too by Tampa. He was getting beat by Tampa.
It's part of the course. It's definitely part of the course.
You're gonna have to learn. Deluxe said Fowler was typically a 4.5 sack a season guy. Who on the team now can see a similar jump in production, go from 5 to 10 sacks? I don't know, bro. That's a good question. I think that there's a chance that Armstrong can get you 10 sacks. I won't even lie to you because I think Armstrong had like 8 with the Cowboys one year. I think last year he had like 5.5, 6. I think Doris. Let me take Doris Armstrong's stats right now. I want to say Doris.
That year that he had 8 though, was that with Micah and
it's
Lawrence?
Always with Micah. It's always.
You see what I'm saying? So and that's kind of what I feel like. I feel like these are rotational guys that are missing they're missing their Kobe, so to speak. They need their go-to guy.
He had 5. So
I feel like Armstrong could potentially get 8 to 10, but not if he's the main focus. You know what I mean?
Got you. You're saying he needs somebody to make his life easy.
Yes.
Got you. But I think what Deluxe is saying that who's going to because the Fowler, are you saying Fowler had that superpower? Because Fowler had 10.5. I think Deluxe is saying who's going to replace who can jump because Fowler didn't have.
That's the thing. That's why I said I wasn't really too big on Fowler because it's almost like it was an anomaly. And them not bringing him back in kind of made me feel even more justified in that take because you had your best season.
Yeah.
Why would the team that you had your best season with that's on the up and up not want you back?
What's
the disconnect? Right. So are those 10.5 sacks because you were just put in the position constantly to be the one to get the sacks and then you couldn't have no value anywhere else? So I don't know if there's another player that makes that leap on this team. Armstrong is he's probably the best candidate to potentially
that's
make that
on this
leap.
team. That's currently on this team. For me, it would be Armstrong. That's currently on this team. I don't see Colin Farrell. Farrell is Colin Farrell. Farrell doesn't have it. I know, right? Farrell is not an individual who I don't believe in. He was I know he's local too, man. That's why I feel bad by saying it. He's not an individual. He's like he's there. He's a body. He's a body.
I don't think there's a guy on here that makes that leap. And I guess that's my biggest concern with the whole thing. Is I don't see a guy making that leap with this squad right now. Yeah. I would love it. I would definitely be here for it, but
yeah, I don't think on this squad the only person would be Armstrong. I think because Armstrong had he had 7.5 last year, not 7.5 the year before he came to Washington, and 8.5. But again, to your point, they're all with Micah and Lawrence, right? So it's not like he wasn't even an everyday starter. He was a rotationary dude to getting that many sacks. He wasn't starting when he was getting those sacks, right? Which is dope in a way. But to your point, because everybody's worried about those two, they worry about those two. You know what I mean? So, and now you're
if I'm an O lineman, if I'm a left tackle, right tackle, I'm getting my ass bust every play by Micah Parsons, Lawrence. They switching sides, doing all kind of crazy shit. By the time Armstrong come in, I'm trying to take it easy. You know what I'm saying? Right. You fresh. I've been getting beat up all day, so now you getting off. And that's not to knock Armstrong. I think that's a perfect fit for him. I think we could get the same production here in DC. We just need one more piece.
I like this question, Mike. Mike, who do you both think will be the most improved player in this second season? I'll start with you. Go ahead.
Oh, in this second season, are we talking rookies or we just mean?
I think he's talking about
would Lattimore count for this combo?
Yeah. Let's say new. First year with Commanders last year to now. Weren't all of them new though?
Most of them. A lot of new faces last year.
He said rookies. No, he said rookies. My man said rookies.
He said rookies? Okay. I mean, I'm gonna leave Jaden out of it. I honestly, and this might be a bit of a hot take, I think there will be somewhat of a sophomore slump with Jaden in some ways, right? Yeah. Not saying that he's gonna fall off the face of the earth or nothing crazy.
Just like what CJ Stroud did. Like CJ Stroud was a
right. And I think you and Bryce mentioned this too. Last year was full of a lot of special moments.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this season's necessarily gonna go that way. Mm-hmm. So last season will be near and dear to our hearts, but I don't know if Jaden is as magical as many times this coming season. So it might feel a little different. Mm-hmm. But I think somebody who's definitely going to make a leap and improve in their second year is Sanders still. Yeah, I think that'll be the obvious one right there. I think Sanders still honestly proved last season that he can play the slot or the outside, which is extremely valuable as a corner. So I think he'll do a little bit of both this season. Who knows where they put him? I really like what he did against the Eagles at the end of the season last year.
I do too.
I think sky's the limit for Sanders still. I don't think he'll surpass Lattimore because I think that's another guy. Both our corners, I think, will be, I don't want to say night and day, but they're going to level up from last season for sure.
Paul said, JD will improve. I feel like it's hard. One, we'll see. I'm with you in this element that, I don't know if he dominant. I think he'll be a better football player in general in life. I mean, probably down the end of the season, just like CJ Stroud kind of got going at the end of the season. But I do think there are going to be some bumps, though. You know, I respect the way the NFL is. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to be like.
So, my whole thing is we're a lot of people. I'll use the Chiefs as an example. A lot of people knocked the Chiefs last year. They were 15-2, won a lot of games. I think it was 11 games by 1 point or something crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So that easily could have went any way in either of those games. I don't know exactly how many games the Commanders won in that exact fashion, but it feels like we won a lot of games. On the last play, that Saints game felt like it could have won anyway. Yeah, obviously, we won the Hail Mary. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my thing is, people will call it a sophomore slump if we get in a situation like that and we don't make the Hail Mary or we have a Mark Andrews situation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the way you quantify it, I think will be different. I think Jaden will improve in the sense of, will he throw for more passing yards? Yes. Mm-hmm. Will he throw for more passing touchdowns? Yes. Will the Commanders have the same amount of wins? I mean, that you know what I mean? I think we still make the playoffs, certainly. I think we'll be in the conversation to win the division. Mm-hmm. But I think it just depends on how you want to measure the sophomore slump.
Yeah. Santiago said we won 5 close games.
Right. So if 2 or 3 of those go the other way, are we even in the playoffs? You know what I mean? Yeah. That Saints game was I rewatched that one recently, bro, and I was kind of damn, We almost,
it wasn't the best game.
You lose that game, and a lot of things feel different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that Saints game was annoying. I'm gonna lie. They look real. That Saints game almost pissed me off because it kind of reminded me of the Cowboys game they lost in Northwest. Because I felt like we were playing, so we lost that game against the Cowboys, but we were so much better than the Cowboys. But we kind of played to their played down to them.
Yeah, we definitely played down to them.
So that Saints game was kind of the same way.
I'm just worried that if there's 2 or 3 moments like that Cowboys game early on in the season, people are gonna feel like the sky is falling. No, that might not be the case.
Santiago said, he said, Jaden and Mikey will improve. Jaden doesn't need much improvement. Yeah, like I guess that's what Rome is saying. It's like he doesn't like how much of a jump can he make from now? You know what I mean? And and it's like if he has a couple bad, if he is like a couple ticks off, is that really a decline? You know what I mean? Like I know what you're saying. It's not gonna be as perfect as it was last year. I know exactly what you're saying. And then you're on tape. Like teams have film on you, so there could be a natural natural slippage. But again, if you learn from it and get better, like CJ, that's why you CJ Stroud for example. Beginning of his season was rough. He finished that thing like a Gito. So he's learned. It's gonna make him a better player. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna make him a better player. There are a lot of quarterbacks that had I don't want to call it a sophomore slump, but their first year wasn't as awesome as that. Like their second year, their second year wasn't as awesome as their first year. And they weren't a bum. They weren't a bust. It just wasn't the same. You know what I mean? That's all. Ain't no knock on it. Deluxe dark horse for the biggest leap from year 1 to 2 is Tyler Owens. I like Tyler Owens. I do like him. JD5 and Mikey already started off strong. Luke and McGee. I like McGee. I think McGee's gonna be good. Luke and McGee are more likely, but the dark horse candidate. But like the dark horse candidate.
Luke is a good one. There's been a ton of good reports about him all spring.
There's always something good about Luke on the
I'm interested. Yeah, that's why I haven't been taking it to like heart or nothing, but I've seen a lot of good things about him in the spring. So I'm interested to see. You know what else is funny to me, man? Because we both been doing this for a while now. Like I haven't seen this much mini camp hype in my lifetime. I feel like since when did we start getting hype about mini? Like, and not just the Commanders either. Like, I just mean the NFL in general. I feel like there's been a lot of mini camp hype, and I'm
gonna be real with you. I feel like this because I've been doing this for a long time too. Like, obviously, and that's the one thing I don't like about off season is people hype camp too much.
I think, and it used to just be training camp that they hype, but now I'm like, why are we hyping?
But they know I'm gonna be real with you, Rome. Like they do this too sometimes, but training can't be worse though. I ain't gonna lie, training can't be much worse. But they do this sometimes. It'd be hype. I think I feel like reporters and they're hyping it up more now because it's a winner, right? There's more attention to it. Because Washington's had like that winning season, right?
Right.
But in general, like I don't care for mini camp. I don't care for mandatory camp. I don't care for training camp. I care about for certain elements of it, but I don't get like fixated because I've been fooled in training camp. Like I've been fooled at training camp.
We all have. We definitely
I don't go for training camp. I don't go.
It's like, and it's not that I don't take value out of any of it. I take value out of all of them, but like, I just feel like and I don't want to get crazy. It was just a big topic in Commanders Nation, but we all saw the Tunsil hype video and all that, right? Yeah. So like, and I rock with Linnell. I love his reporting, but I just feel like we're talking about an O lineman who's not doing much at a mini camp where there's not pads on.
Yeah.
It just don't feel like it holds that much weight. Like a mini camp is a glorified 7-on-7 essentially. Like, so I'm not too concerned what any of my linemen are doing for the most part. Like, are they there? Are they camaraderie, working with the team, doing individual drills? Cool. To me, mini camp is like a team building exercises almost. It's like just to get the chemistry going. So I'm not taking too much stock out of, what they're doing when they're not even in pads. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I said, at least when we get to training camp and they put pads on, like, is it still just a bunch of glorified practices? Absolutely. But you can at least take a little bit more out of what they're doing when they're in full equipment versus right now. I'm like, bro, They out there with you can go buy a helmet at Dick's and run around and do what they doing, bro. Like,
yeah, I do. I'm like, what my man Mike said. He said, well, they take value out of this team even if they were just signing autographs. I'm just saying, I don't really care about camp, man. I hate camp. I ain't gonna lie. I used to fry I only have like certain people. Like even when I do the show, I tell folks like, I only want you on my show because you're gonna keep it real when it comes to camp. I don't have time for like I don't have time for like the good story camp talk. I like to see one-on-one because for me, like anything, I'm a competitor. Like, so I get more like intel out of somebody out of like a scrimmage against an opposing team or preseason game. Like, because I know how you compete. Because it's all about I want to see how you compete. And I'm not saying wins or losses. I want to see how you individually compete. Like you individually. That's how I see it. Because at the end of the day, when you're practicing against like we go to like me and you on the same team, right, Rome? Say you a pass rusher. You a edge rusher. I'm the tackle, right? And we're going at it for weeks. You know what I'm saying? One-on-one, right? Eventually you're gonna get my tendencies. And you're gonna be able to kind of work me. And vice versa. Maybe I get your tendencies and you can't do nothing with me, right?
Same, yeah.
So how does that show you anything? Because just all that tells me is you're getting used to me. Like you're used to me. Now if you go against somebody else and then you do that, then we talking about something different. Right. Yeah, then we talking about something different.
What I take away from camps is what are the coaches doing? Like we'll have obviously we were talking O-line, D-line. So I'll be interested to see who is out there with the first team D-line. Like who is the first two edge rushers they want to put out there? Where are they going to put Connolly? Those are the kind of things I'm looking for. Not Terry cooked Amos one-on-one. Like, bro, I'm expecting Terry to cook Amos one-on-one. Like he's a vet. Amos is a rookie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we get to week 2 or 3 in camp. Like to your point, like, now they know each other's tendencies. So now he knows how Terry runs his route. So he's not getting cooked no more. I'm not taking a big value out of that at all. I prefer to see where the coaches are putting players, who started 4th on the depth chart and now all of a sudden is 2nd or a starter. Like those are the kind of things that I look for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. What Timothy said, we love to fixate on the luck of the Hail Mary, but ignore that missed PATs lost us the Cowboys game. It did. That's true. Or how we were hanging with the Ravens. Oh yeah, we would definitely that game.
We had the Ravens. Yeah,
we were winning that first. We were. Timothy, I agree. Hey Timothy, like I said this, on this show. That first Eagles game was Thursday night game. That like we dominated most of that game until the 4th quarter, and then all of a sudden that's when our
I don't disagree with any of that. All I'm saying is I've watched enough football in my lifetime to know that the second Eagles game, if Devontae Smith catches that pass and we lose, you lose that Saints game, you lose to the Eagles twice in regular season and again in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. A lot of the hype dies down with those type of losses. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to warn fans now. If we get into this season and a couple of those games don't go our way, don't start the hate train.
Oh, now everybody in this chat, I know folks in this chat, they like, I know you talking about, there's some folks I know on the X on X would do that in a second. Now on this, I know folks on not in this chat. Mike said all the off-season workouts give you guys material to show us, and we don't get to see what you guys see at OTAs because we ain't there. I'm not at OTAs. I'll be at some training. I'll be in training camp. But when I have some of our, obviously I have some guests who are there and they talk about it. But I ain't gonna lie to you, even when they talk about it at times, I don't be believing it. I'd be like, all right, sound good. that's
I just like to see who's getting the most reps, who's starting where. Those are the things I like to see. Yeah. I'm gonna be at a couple training camps too, though. I'm very excited for camp to get started this year.
Good. Yeah, I'll be like, that's the thing. Like, I just want to see. I mean, truth be told, man, I would just like being at, like, I don't like judging running backs in camp because I feel like you don't tackle them, so it don't really matter. Like they know, like when someone tells me like a running back looks good, I side it all the time. Like I'd be like, nobody tackling you. Like what's the fear? It's like playing flag football.
Yeah.
Like when you play flag football, like my nephew was a beast of flag football. He's really good when he plays tackle too. He's like that. When we play flag, you would think he's Barry Sanders out there. Why? Because he know he ain't getting hit.
Right.
He know he ain't getting hit. That's all I'm saying. And so when I don't get when they're in like when they're not in pads and even that they're not in pads and they're not tackling the running back. I'm
No, I
like,
mean I coach 7v7, bro. Like
so,
it's a difference. So
it's a
it's a
difference.
difference.
What
It's
I'm
just a
saying.
difference, bro.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's
I don't
way
get
different when
so
you got the pads on and you getting hit and you got to get back up and do it again.
yeah.
It's way different.
Yeah, so but that's all that. But that's basically where we're at. But yeah, in terms of back to the topic, we're about to close the show out. But yeah, personally, wrap it up and saying like I think the team should go after Clowney. Personally, that's me. Just because I feel like only and all the other dudes, I would be happy that like truth be told, this could have been a whole 3 option type of thing for real for this show.
Yeah.
It could have been any of those dudes. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I do feel like if you're willing, this is how I look at it. If you're willing to bring in a guy like Fowler in last year to help your unit out as a rotationary dude, again, I'm saying rotationary dude. I think it played out where he got most of the snaps because he got sacks. But if you're willing to play, if you're willing to bring him in last year, I think you should be willing to bring in a guy like a Clowney or some or Smith or whatever, because I do feel like it's similar and it's probably going to be cheaper because they didn't come off a season where they had like a 10 sack year, so it's probably going to be cheaper and you'll get more. And I feel like you get more more bang for your buck or whatever in that situation, because I feel like those players can do more for you than Fowler. Like, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
Fowler, just not saying just by sacks. I'm saying it's the body of work on setting the edge, stopping the run, like being guys who are aggressive and doing that. They can help you out in that element rather than just being a sack artist. Then that's all you are. You know what I mean? And even I even put I definitely would still put Von Miller in that situation too as well, because Von Miller has done it before, and there's something about doing it before. And like to what you're talking about, Rome, you said like, yeah, he may not be looking like Von Miller the first 3 quarters, but that fourth quarter he becomes Von Miller for
Right.
that. Yeah, you know what I
He's
mean?
one of the most clutch pass rushers I think of
Yeah,
all time.
yeah, exactly. So I do think that's very important as well. Like I do think that's very important. Oh yeah, this is a shot at me. So I think Jamin Davis made Wole not want to be at OTA. One, that was training camp, buddy. That was training camp. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be back out there, bro. I mean, look, man, we don't have that. Jamin Davis ain't in the clips no more, man. So it is what it is, man. Appreciate you though, man. Mike, you still my guy. You're definitely my guy. Hey, before we end this show out, man. Hey, Ron, let folks know how they can catch you and catch your awesome content, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check me out on Sports for the Culture live every Tuesday on the Gas Sports Network. You can follow us and subscribe on YouTube. We also go live on Twitter. That's every Tuesday night. And then you can also check me and my man Bryce out on Hail to the Culture as well. We'll have a new episode coming for you guys this weekend, so stay tuned.
Hey, man, thank you, Deluxe, man. Appreciate you, man. Deluxe giving showing love. Oh man, thanks, Mike. Always, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. So make sure y'all pull up, man. And let me make sure I put in like I gotta make sure the banner plays for y'all, man. I can't not have the banner showcasing when you there you go. Here we go. So folks know. There we go. It's perfect.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, before we close the show out, so make sure y'all remember to subscribe to our podcast on all podcast platforms. Also, if you're on the Urban Sports and YouTube channel right now, and you have not subscribed, hit that red subscribe button right now. I'm waiting for you. I got time. All right. I just claimed it. Thank you. I know you have subscribed. Appreciate you. Make sure you check out our website, which is the urbansportscene.com. Again, man, I appreciate my man Rome for being on, pulling up. It's always cool to have my man on, man. And make sure you follow him. Follow the show on the YouTube channel, Gas Sports Network's YouTube channel. So make sure you do that. And hey, Rome, when y'all talking some what commander stuff you got pulling up for
we're definitely going to dive into some more of this pass rusher talk that you and I were getting into, and just really getting ready for what we expect to see in training camp coming up. Like I was telling you earlier, man, I'm getting excited. Like the Commanders have turned it around finally. We finally got a real quarterback. I saw someone post up about, do you miss Taylor Heineke on X and shit. I was like, I miss Taylor Heineke about as much as I miss losing.
I mean, bro, like I
like
feel like
we got to turn the page with this old guard, and that's what me and Bryce are gonna try to bring to the people with this next episode, man. Like we're held to the culture, and we're gonna help bring the winning culture back to the DMV area.
I love the way you stated that because I saw that Clowney not Clowney, I saw that Heineke thing. I glanced at it. I've stopped trashing Taylor Heineke because that like he got like there's like a Heineke hive, like there's a beehive.
Yeah, I
Like,
love Taylor Heineke.
that's okay.
I might have
I don't like
once upon a time I might have even been in the Heineke hive. But
yeah,
my
okay.
thing is like we're so far removed from that. Right,
Yeah.
we're so far removed from that. Like he. The problem is the Commanders were so loose to losing, bro.
That's the truth.
You know, like we would fall in love with anything, bro. Like Taylor Heineke is the girl at the bar, which you vibing. Then the lights come on and you like, damn,
man. Let me get
like I
one
thought
shot.
you was an 8, you a 4.
4. Let me get one more
Taylor
shot.
Heineke
Though.
literally a 4.
Yeah, let me get one more shot though, to make you look like a 4. They look like an 8 though. Let me get one more shot though.
Right.
Hey,
Right. So all the Taylor Heineke lovers, man, put the drinks down. We got a real one in Jaden.
Yeah. Hey, Mike said Mike has a question for before we end the show. He said, "Hey, what's your prediction number in terms of wins?"
Ooh, all right. My it's June, so it's obviously way too early. So I'll probably change this as we get, rosters and set and stuff. But early on, I think we went about 11 or 12 games. I think those games come on the back end though. I think the beginning of the season is going to look a little rougher than people think. I know how the schedule looks. I know there's a lot of NFC East games at the end, but I think that's where the Commanders will pull together and win the division by beating their NFC East opponents. But beating the AFC West, tall task right there.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I think year 2 is going to be a little tougher, but I feel like if the coaches are doing their jobs, Jaden gets better. Jaden continues to work on his craft. And he has. Like, that's one thing I like about Jaden. He got better as the season went on. So I feel like I'm not giving no records too. I know what you're trying to do out of me, Mike. I don't do that. I don't do that crap. But I do feel like they'll be. I'm with you. Towards the end of the season, when you get the best version of the Commanders, I do think that's going to happen. Like, that's when you get the best version of them. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for pulling up anyway. You've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. You dig? Deuces. We are out.
Peace.